Welcome to today's edition of 3-Minute Halacha as we continue to study the Melacha of Kotev, of writing. The Gemara on Shabbat, Daf Kuf Mem Tet Amud Aleph, prohibits reading Shtarei Hedyotot on Shabbat, which Rashi defines as business writings. There are two possible reasons why you can't read those business writings, the business documents on Shabbat. The first is because of Kotev, writing, or its corollary melacha of mochek, of erasing. A person reading those documents may make a note or correct an error. Additionally, we're not allowed to discuss business matters on Shabbat, even if we don't conduct business, because of a prophetic admonition of a daber davar. For these reasons, in general, non-mitzvah reading is forbidden on Shabbat, as the Shulchan Aruch points out in Shin Zayin, Yud Gimel to Tet Zayin. However, the Magen Avraham, Rabbi Avram Gombiner, in his commentary to Shulchan Aruch, both in chapter 301, his note 4, and in 307, his note 16, permits reading for pleasure because it's a mitzvah to enjoy Shabbos, even if that reading is not Torah reading. On this basis, Rabbi Yaakov Emden, in his response of Shelat Yavetz, Volume 1, Tshuva 162, permits those who enjoy to read newspapers to read them on Shabbat. While others disagree, common practice was to permit newspapers on Shabbat, with one important caveat, and that is you weren't allowed to read the business news or advertisements because of Vidaber Davar. Nowadays, many authorities recommend against reading newspapers on Shabbat because it's not Shabbosdik, but they don't forbid it. In addition, and interestingly, Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, a contemporary posek, in his Harchavot on Pninei Halacha Shabbat, chapter 22, section 12, paragraph 11, points out that advertising today is very different than in the time of Rabbi Yaakov Emden, when he prohibited newspaper reading because of advertisements. Today, advertisements are no longer the primary form for creating commerce opportunities. For example, a person no longer will read the stock news in the newspaper to get the information. It's a day old. Many advertisements today are just to create a brand awareness and not to really be selling things to readers, which is another reason why it may be permitted nowadays to read newspapers, even though the ads are throughout the pages of the newspaper themselves. There is one other possible prohibition to newspapers, a chidush, an innovation suggested by Rav Hershel Schachter, and that is the newspapers may be muktzah, because when Shabbat began, they were just blank pieces of paper printed on Shabbat. It may be that it prohibited because of Nolad. It's a unique position of Rav Schachter, but another reason that some people opt not to read newspapers on Shabbat.